Unfiltered. Ricky Bowe, Bill Colarulo.
Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, 3 o'clock here on Unfiltered. Let's get back to the fighting Phils because they are 16-4 now under Don Mattingly. They're 1 win away in the Cincinnati Reds series from taking 7 straight series. So what has changed? Well, joining us now, the one and only Larry Bowa to help make sense of what's going on with the Phils. Larry, what's going on, man?
Oh, everything's good. Thank you.
Yeah, everything is good at 16-4 right now with Don Mattingly at the helm. I mean, what's the biggest change you've seen with this team over the last 20 games?
Well, a couple things. Getting Wheeler back obviously was huge. I think that was the biggest thing. And not playing the Cubs in Atlanta, and they were both on fire. We played them back-to-back. And, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And those two teams at that time were extremely hot. But we knew it was a matter of time. I'm not saying we were going to do this, but we knew our offense was going to start clicking. Our pitching's been really good. But I just think that the Wheeler probably is the most important thing. You get a number one at the top of the rotation. I should say 1 and 1A. Him and Sanchez have been – if a team comes in here and has to face those two guys, good luck because they're both hitting on all cylinders right now, and our closer's lights out. So a lot of good things are happening right now. There's no question about that.
But one thing that's been pretty noticeable to me is that it seems like the team fundamentals are a lot better since Don Mattingly took over. Is that coincidence, or did that just kind of click into place?
Well, I don't think it's coincidence. I mean, these guys work every day. Even when Tomps was managing, I mean, they did their extra work and everything. I think Donnie sort of emphasized more how important giving outs away are. So I think they've taken that to heart. But you know what? When you get good pitching like we've been getting, and the routine ground balls are really routine, there's nice 2 hoppers. They're not balls coming out yet 101 or 102 miles an hour. So I think pitching has a lot to do with improved defense. When you get pitchers making good pitches, it's hard to square that stuff up. And so it's a combination of things. There's no question about it. We knew we weren't that bad, and it was just a matter of time before things started clicking.
Yeah, I mean, look, the starting pitching has been phenomenal, but you're also seeing guys like Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott really step up. What have you seen from those two guys? Is this sustainable the way they've been playing?
I think it's sustainable, no question. I don't think Boehm's a 200 hitter, and I don't think Stott's a 220 hitter. You know, baseball's a long season, and when you get out of the gate slow, everything's magnified. You look up there and your average is 185 or 210. And you don't really have a lot of at-bats. And then once they settle in a little bit, we're getting players responding from every position right now. It's not just one guy. I mean, Schwarber's been on fire. There's no question about that. And so is Harp. I mean, when you have your 2 big boys doing what they're doing offensively, the rest of the lineup can take a deep breath saying, man, if I don't do it, those 2 guys are the way they're swinging, they're going to pick people up. And we see Trey starting to swing a little bit. So I just think it's a combination of things. I know we weren't that bad, but I think pitching and defense can win a lot of baseball games. You don't have to get 9 runs every night. You can win 3-2, 2-1, and I think that's been the biggest change so far.
But what is your thought on Adolis Garcia? I mean, the guy comes in here. I think everybody was hoping that he reverted back a couple of years and hits all these home runs. What are you seeing from him?
Well, I know one thing. When he comes up with a man on third lately, he's been putting the ball in play. He's a big asset in right field. Nobody runs on him. He's got a tremendous arm. He covers right field like it's unbelievable. I do believe he's going to hit 20 to 25 home runs before this season's over. But he's added a lot to our lineup, man. He's a threat every time he gets in the box. And I noticed the 2-strike approach. You can see that a little bit. Starting to hit the ball the other way with a man on third base. He's done that a few times in this last week to 10 days. So that's another bat that and he really has not got what I call hot. He's going to get hot. And again, like I said, he stops everybody from scoring from second base. When there's a base hit to right field, you might as well put up your hands if you're the third base coach because he's got one of those arms that you better be careful about. But I think I don't look at his batting average. I look at what he's doing with men in scoring position. and especially at third base with less than 2 outs. He's been putting the ball in play and driving in a lot of runs for us.
We're talking to Larry Bowa about the red-hot fighting Phils. Now, Larry, are you going to see Terry Francona down there at the ballpark today?
Yeah, I probably will, yeah.
Can you let him know that he still owes Ricky Bowe money? Because Ricky Bowe got suspended when he threw at Barry Bonds, and Francona never paid his fine.
Oh, okay. Was Francona managing them, or was it me?
No, it was Francona. You don't even remember Bean Bonds start a brawl?
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I think you would have remembered if you were actually managing. You would have been on the bottom of the pile. How
much does he owe you so I don't mess up?
You know how you get the fines, and if the fine comes in from Major League Baseball, it was handed to me, and he gave it to me.
Usually the team picks it up. Usually.
Right, he told me to pay it, and the team will reimburse me, and I never got it. So it was a joke. So it's a running joke that that Colarulo thinks that Terry Francona owes me money.
Yeah, let him know, Larry.
Oh, I will. I'll let him know.
This is what I deal with every day, Bo. I had to deal with you for 2 years, now, or actually about 6 years. Now I got to deal with this guy every day.
Okay.
All right, Bo, give me a little synopsis, a little thought process on what you're seeing from this bullpen right now, because Brad Keller does not look right yet, and Alvarado's kind of still doing the peaks and valleys thing. What are you seeing from the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, and as you well know, when you come out of that bullpen, it's not going to be perfect every single night. I think what makes it easier is when your starters go 7, maybe 7 or 8, and you don't have to go to that bullpen as often. I was a little bit surprised, because I thought Painter settled in pretty good last night. And then once we got the lead, Donnie decided to go to the bullpen, and, the guy hit a home run right away, and then Scott comes up big with the home run in the 8th inning to put the game on ice. But you know how that is, Rick. I mean, they're like hitters. You're going to have hot streaks. You're going to have streaks where nobody can get anybody out. Just like at the beginning of the year, our bullpen was in disarray a lot. And now it seems like you're not going to get 8 or 9 guys every night to go out there and get 3 up and 3 down. But I think they get the right formula as to who's coming in. And usually when the closer gets the ball, usually the game's over right now because he's got electric stuff, as you well know. We need to get Alvarado more consistent. I thought he's throwing the ball better. He gave up a run last night to a couple right-handed hitters. But I think Keller's going to be all right. I do. I just, you're going to have peaks and valleys, as you well know. And I think what's good now is most of those roles are defined. It's not a matter of, who's getting when the phone rings. Is it me? Is it you? Is it who is it? Guys know when they're coming in. I think that has a lot to do with being successful down there.
All right, Larry, last one from me. Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott, 2 guys that usually don't get opportunities against left-handed pitching. It seems like they're getting a little bit more opportunities. You see them both growing into just being everyday guys with the way they're playing?
I do. I'm one of those. I know it's old school. I like a set lineup for the most part. And, you have your utility guys you need to get at bats. But I think if you play those guys, Marsh is going off the charts, and I think Stott's numbers are unbelievable right now against left-handers. So, I think Donnie's sort of an old-school type guy that he's probably going to play. I'm not saying he's never going to play him against lefties. You get a guy like Chris Sale, who's nasty. You probably give some guys a blow. I've seen Crawford also in the last 2 years in the minor leagues. This guy he's going to hit left-handers too. So I personally like to see a set lineup, but I also understand that you want to give your extra guys or your utility guys some at bats. So every now and then they're going to get a blow. But I think if you stick with the same lineup, knowing who's hitting in front of you, knowing who's hitting behind you, it really relaxes you a little bit. And of course, when you got Schwarber and Hart swinging the way they're doing, it takes a lot of pressure out of the whole lineup.
Larry, we appreciate the time as always, my man. I know you got to get over to batting practice.
Okay, guys, take care, and hopefully we can keep this thing going for a while.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, let's go. There he is, Larry Bowa. So he's going to mention it to Terry Francona about the money. This should be interesting. See if Terry reaches out to you now.
You are like a fire starter, all right?
Listen, it's all for the betterment of the show. Like, if we get Terry Francona to be calling into the show yelling that he doesn't owe you the money.
How come you can't get this out of your mind, but it's been out of my mind forever?
Well, the only reason I know about it is because you brought it up. I wouldn't have known about it anyway.
You wanted to know the whole story.
All right, so how much
We're
money
trying
are
to
we
look out
talking?
for you. We're trying to
I
get you
don't
that money
remember. It
back,
was just
Ricky,
a
you know?
fine. We're not getting the money back.
Maybe John Middleton will take care of it.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Who was the owner back then in the 90s
They
when
had
you were
multiples.
there? Yeah. Middleton, was he still? He was a part of the ownership group, wasn't he? Was he one of the minority owners?
He came in after that.
Oh, man. So we're going to have to hunt down some people here.
You're out of your mind, Bill.
Ricky Bowe deserves his money back. All right?
Why don't you just drop this?
Wait, the way Barry Bonds dropped you on the mound?
It's very uncomfortable.
The way Barry Bonds dropped you on the mound?
Yeah, okay. Look, needlehead.
Now I'm trying to get under his skin. It's not working.
Needlehead. I know you and him worked out in the same gym and everything, but you don't have to start with me like that.
I wish. Barry Bonds was a beast, dude.
He was a needlehead.
Well, a little. What was he? What would you think he was on? The HGH?
I don't know. Whatever he was on, he was huge.
Yeah, he was a big boy, especially when you threw at him, dude. All right,
he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't little.
So Larry Bowa, though, he'll mention something to Terry Francona.
Why do you keep bringing this up?
I think he just likes to,
because he knows it's annoying me, and I get and like I'm tired of it, and he loves to just keep doing this. So now I'm just and here's the difference. Here's the difference. When I say something he doesn't like, he just goes on his sheet of paper and goes to the next thing. Yep. All right. Moving on.
All right. Changing the subject. Changing the subject here.
Finally.
Yeah. That's the beautiful part of driving. Is I get away from uncomfortable conversations.
Oh.
But I keep it going when you're uncomfortable. All right. So Larry Bowa, though.
There we go. All right.
Talking about some of the stuff with this team. Yeah, look, I asked him, what's been the biggest change? And he's probably right. I mean, Wheeler was a big one, but yeah, the opponents. We talked a lot about this yesterday. The opponents that they've played during this 6-series winning streak have been a lot less, I guess, powerful than the teams that they had beat. But
why do you sugarcoat? The teams they have played have not been good.
Yeah, they have not been. They have not been.
Why? I mean, but here's the issue with this whole thing of doing this. Every team has to play these teams. And what I was actually doing yesterday was looking up who the Braves had played, like, similar. And the Braves are beating the living daylights out of those teams, too.
Yeah, and the Braves, some bad news.
With the exception of last night.
Bad news for the Braves today. Did you see Drake Baldwin's going to the IL?
Everybody on their team goes.
And they still find ways to win. But, yeah, now with the Cincinnati Reds dropping to 24-24 after the loss last night, the Phillies are 7-13 right now against teams above 500, and you're not. If you win this series against the Reds, they're not going to be above 500. The real tests are going to come the next 3 series: the Guardians, the Padres, the Dodgers, especially the Padres and the Dodgers. So let's hope this team can keep things rolling. But the question we threw out to everybody out there for the Davis Honda text line was: are you starting to believe in the role players on this team? Because we know how good Schwarber and Harper have been and how good they can be, but are you starting to believe in some of the other guys, the Bryson Stotts, the Brandon Marshes of the world? Do you believe they're good enough? And Larry Bowa still believes, if you heard that, Ricky, that Adolis Garcia is going to hit 25 home runs.
He still could. I mean, it's early in the season. He's got the power. It's just a matter of getting into one of those grooves. Have you seen him in a groove once this year? Where I mean, we've seen the single groove, but like a home run groove. What do home run hitters do? We just saw it from Schwarber. You go in bunches. They come in bunches. He had, at one point, 9 in 8 games, Schwarber did. You haven't seen anything like that from Adolis Garcia. I mean, granted, that it is what it is, but things will happen. And you never know. I've seen stranger things happen where guys won't hit a home run for a month, and then the next month they hit 12 and 13. It does happen like that. I just... I don't know what to expect. Sometimes you have this wishful thought, and I'm wondering if that's what we had. But if he hits 2025, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, just as you're sitting here right now, the fact that Garcia has the same amount of home runs as Alec Boehm, Brandon Marsh, Trey Turner, and Bryson Stott actually has more home runs than Adolis Garcia. That's not what Dave Dombrowski was hoping he was getting when you decided to move on from Castellanos and bring in Adolis. Now, Larry mentioned this too. You are getting excellent right field play from Adolis Garcia. He's been extremely good out there.
He's fantastic in the outfield. And Bowa was right in the sense that he said A base hit to right field with a man on second, that guy's not scoring. He's not. You just don't send him.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a guy who did a lot of third base coaching, too, in his career.
Yeah, so we'll get back to the Phillies a little bit later. We'll see if Kyle Schwarber's back in the lineup tonight once we get a lineup. Actually, it's out.
The lineup is out.
Yeah, no Schwarber again. So
no, Schwarber is still under the weather.
All right, so we'll do the whole lineup
Schwarber's
a little bit
sick,
later.
for crying out loud. Why does everybody have to say under the weather when it's a sports player? He's sick. They either say ill or under the weather. You're sick.
You're sick.
Like it doesn't. Really?
Yeah, you're sick in the head.
You just looked at me, too. You know I'm starting to get a little rattled with you right now.
You're sick in the head. All right, speaking of being sick in the head, that was me last night, angry watching the San Antonio Spurs and wondering why the 76ers couldn't build their team around Joel the way the Spurs built around Wembanyama so quickly. In his third season, they're already competing in the Western Conference Finals and have a real shot at winning an NBA title. Silvana said a lot of people are weighing in on the text line about my frustration. I would love to hear from Sixers fans if you're as annoyed as I am. Send your voice memos. We hear you coming up. 610-632-0975. But what are people saying on the Davis Honda text line, Sil?
We have this section that says, Ben Simmons really killed us. They would have been one of the best 1-2 punches in the league, and they could have put a bunch of role players around them and dominated the East for years.
Well, maybe if Ben could have shot a three-pointer, things would have been different.
Well, he won a title.
Yeah, I heard.
He won a fishing title.
He sucks.
Yeah, please.
I don't even want to hear his name anymore.
It wasn't just
Ben Simmons. Can we just take his name out of this?
Yeah, I mean, he was the worst, but figure Markelle Fultz was also a miss. But it's also the way that they've decided to allocate resources over the years in terms of trades that they've made and money that they've spent. It's just been one disaster after another. It started with Colangelo. I mean, that whole mess when he with his burner account and the big collars that he was
can't
rocking.
Even make this up.
It is. It's the Sixers in the last 15 years. You cannot make it up. You cannot make it up. By the way, speaking of how long it's been for the Sixers, I mentioned earlier it's been 42 years since they've been to since they won a title. 52 years today. You know what it is? The anniversary of
Flyers.
Let's hit the horn.
52 years ago, the Flyers won their first Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And then they went back-to-back and haven't won since.
Do you know who tweeted that out today?
No.
Coots.
Oh, Sean Couturier put that out there.
Well, it said Coots, if that's his name.
I don't think so. It's probably a Twitter handle just going by Coots. All right.
We got to teach him about social media literacy. It's
Yeah.
very scary out there, Ricky.
You got to not talk.
Yeah, he believes it was really Sean Couturier. Sean Couturier.
I choked on my water, Ricky. I was not expecting you to say that.
Boy Coots.
Yeah, I don't believe that's really Sean Couturier, but maybe. All right,
I'll do some digging.
Here's what I want to do coming up next. John Kincaid this morning, all right? He said something about this whole A.J. Brown trade fiasco. That's what I'm calling it now. And I'm curious if Eagles fans agree with his position towards A.J. Brown. I'll play that for you coming up. And I'm curious, Ricky, if you're going to agree with him, too. So, A.J. Brown, what did John Kincaid say this morning? That's coming up next. Unfiltered, 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia. All right, welcome back into Unfiltered. Talked a little Phillies, a little Sixers. I want to switch over to the Eagles for a second because I was listening to our morning show this morning, and our man John Kincaid said something that I'm very curious if Eagles fans agree with him on. But it's about A.J. Brown. So I told you yesterday, I don't want to do the A.J. Brown wedding photo investigation and who was there and who wasn't. But TMZ picked it up. I don't know if you saw this, Ricky. And they put out there that Jalen Hurts wasn't at A.J. Brown's wedding, and now everybody's running with it, and they're trying to determine what Eagles were there and why didn't A.J. Brown have more people from the Eagles there. I don't know how many more times we could make this clear. A.J. Brown is getting traded, okay? It has been obvious for months. The same reason why Jalen Hurts wasn't at this wedding is what we've been telling you for over a year. AJ and Jalen aren't as close as they used to be. This isn't hot take radio. It's not rage bait. It's just reality, okay? AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, from multiple sources, have told us they don't get along like they used to. So if Jalen wasn't at his wedding, you shouldn't be surprised, all right? But what I want to talk about is when June 1st does officially arrive and AJ Brown is traded, are you going to wish him well? Because John Kincaid this morning went off on A.J. Brown. Here was John Kincaid.
I want A.J. Brown, and hopefully many blessings on your marriage, A.J. Congratulations on that. But I want you sent to Siberia. Where's the worst team?
Cleveland.
That we get. I'd love to see A.J. Brown wearing brown. I'd love to see him in the worst situation possible. Could I find a worse situation? Can I find somewhere where he'd be absolutely miserable?
All right, so John Kincaid.
Unbelievable.
Basically wants to send him to Siberia, worst situation possible, and all that.
Wishes him luck on the wedding.
Yeah, on the wedding. Because personally, he's wishing him well, but professionally, he's wishing him hell.
I don't know,
right?
man. That would not be.
Yeah, I guess
personally that would.
It'll
suck
carry
too.
over. But here's my question, because John certainly feels this way. If you're out there as an Eagles fan, are you angry at A.J. Brown? Because I look at A.J. Brown, and even though, yes, he wants to be traded and he's going to get traded, in his 4 years here, the guy has been arguably one of the best franchise wide receivers we've ever seen. He's had some of the best 4 seasons in the history of the franchise. He's helped get you to 2 Super Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl. He didn't derail last season. I get it. He's done things that could be considered a distraction. I understand all of that. But why are we hating A.J. Brown on the way out? Why are we wishing he gets sent somewhere terrible? Why are we hoping that he's miserable? I have no ill will towards A.J. Brown whatsoever. I look at it as it's time to move on. But at the same time, I'm going to thank him for the 4 years that he did deliver for us, because we saw an unbelievable run over these 4 years, and we went to 2 Super Bowls, and they won 1 Super Bowl. Now, are you more in line with what I'm thinking, Ricky Bo, or are you with John Kincaid, and you want A.J. Brown to be absolutely miserable?
I am 100% not with John Kincaid. No way. What? Why? What does that get you? That sounds like a little kid saying, I never want to see him again. Get him out of here. Don't ever let me lay eyes on him. Who cares? Who cares? Let him go somewhere where you can get revenge on him. Send him to the Cowboys. Pound him around on Thanksgiving Day. What do you really care? I didn't mean really send him to the Cowboys. I'm just saying
that's
that
he didn't mean.
It's just one of those things where, okay, the time has passed. Time to change. Things are going to move on. It happens all the time in sports. There's always movement in sports. If you can't handle that, then don't watch. I mean, in all reality, you have to be able to handle situations. Do I have an opinion about this? Yeah. They probably don't get along. They don't want to be around each other anymore. So one of them has to ask out. A.J. Brown is smart enough to know that he's the franchise quarterback. They're not just going to get rid of him. And he probably knew that if they get rid of Jalen Hurts, what is the next guy coming in? Who is it? Big question mark. You know what? It is what it is. Certain people don't want to be certain places at certain times. Goodbye. Good riddance. Have a great career. Bye.
Yeah, like I want to hear from Eagles fans on this, because I do feel that John Kincaid is not on an island here. I'm sure there are Eagles fans who are angry at AJ, but I want to know why.
They
really?
are.
Have you heard a bunch of them say it, though?
I have on social media.
I have not heard a lot of people say that they are pissed at A.J. Brown right
No,
now.
I
I'm
have
with
seen
Sil.
a ton of people on social
I have
media.
not seen it as much as you guys have.
Yeah, still, it's all over Twitter and Instagram.
Well, Twitter, I mean, there's people out there that you've never seen, heard of from, that'll just throw something out there.
I think they're mad because obviously he was still highly successful and still had a lot of the stats that he's supposedly seeking. And so they don't really understand where this issue is for A.J. Brown. So I just think that they're hurt, and now they're like, whatever, you know what? Thanks for the Super Bowl. Let's move on, because they think Devontae Smith is also a wide receiver one, and they think that they can still win without him. So I think they're like, whatever. I'm mad
okay
that you
with
try
that.
to derail the season and that you're going to talk bad on the quarterback. I think that's part of it too. Like, they think that him not saying anything is also him kind of,
But I'm
throwing
okay.
more into that.
I'm okay with the thought process of we can move on with Devontae, and you drafted Mekhi Lemon, and understanding that you have options without AJ. I don't get, though, the being angry at AJ and wishing him failure or wishing him to go to a miserable place. Like John Kincaid is literally saying this morning, send them to the most miserable place you can. And I just don't get that. Because, look, in every professional relationship, sometimes things don't work out. And even though Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown might have been close when they weren't teammates, I mean, listen, Ricky, there's a reason why people say, hey, don't get a job with your spouse.
Or don't live with your best friend.
Right? Yeah, because you could, or even get a job with your best friend. Like, there's things that can happen in a professional setting that are different than a social setting. And for whatever reason, AJ and Jalen aren't seeing eye to eye. And you hit the nail on the head, Ricky. They're not going to trade the franchise quarterback. So if AJ and Jalen aren't getting along, the wide receiver is going to get moved 99.9% out of the time over the quarterback. They're not going to choose the wide receiver over the quarterback. But the reason why I'm having a hard time being so angry at AJ is going back to something I've said quite often on this show. Every person I talk to down at the Eagles facility tells me that A.J. Brown is a phenomenal teammate, that he does things for his teammates off the field that don't get discussed publicly because A.J. and the team don't necessarily want these things out there of things that he's done where if you heard about him, you would say, man, what a great guy he is.
Fans are thinking otherwise.
Yeah, but just simply him saying that he doesn't want to be here anymore for whatever reason, and I get it. He's a little bit of a me guy when it comes to stats. He told us that after the Super Bowl.
Name one wideout that isn't. Well, I guess Devontae Smith, but he still gets his.
That's it. I think they compare him to Devontae Smith and are like, okay, look at Devontae who doesn't get all that production or all those targets as you. He's not complaining and he's, maybe, 1B, or other people are thinking that he's on similar level to A.J. Brown. Then they're looking at, okay, he was reading a book on the sidelines. He was saying stuff on social media. He was posting on Twitter all subtweeting Jalen Hurts. And then he gave up on us that's what people are saying. I'm not saying I'm saying this. He gave up on us in that last game.
Against the 49ers. That he looked like he gave up on the balls and all that stuff. Now, I will say this. You're right that Devontae Smith doesn't come out and go to social media or read a book on the sidelines. But I also think you're kidding yourself if you don't think Devontae Smith was just as frustrated as A.J. Brown was at times over the last 2 seasons with the passing attack.
There's videos.
Right? He was just as frustrated. He handles it differently, and I get it. We don't love the way A.J. has handled it. But I look at A.J. Brown as a guy who gave you a lot in 4 years. Wish him the best. Time to move on. Now, you mentioned earlier, Ricky, you don't want to hear Ben Simmons' name anymore, right?
I don't.
Ben Simmons is a guy where, send him to damn Siberia when he leaves Philadelphia.
Why?
There were athletes.
Send him to the Knicks.
No, I don't.
What do you talk about? Send him to Siberia.
What I'm saying is there were athletes on the way out who you did wish ill will towards because of what they did during their time here. Like Terrell Owens, as much as we all loved T.O. in that 2004 season, he derailed the 2005 season. He's doing sit-ups on his damn driveway. He's getting suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. That's a guy where you say, hey, you know what? Get him out of here. Send him anywhere. AJ hasn't really done much. All right, he read a book on the sidelines. Really? We're going to yell and scream because he was reading a book on the sidelines in the year you won the Super Bowl?
People have to understand that when a player leaves, it's usually one-sided. It's either the player wants to leave or the team doesn't want him anymore. It's funny, when the team doesn't want him anymore, nobody has a problem with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if A.J. Brown was coming up on a free agency here and the Eagles said, well, we're just going to have to let him go, everybody would be like, all right, we're letting him go. You're going to go get somebody else in free agency. But because now it's the player that wants to leave, there's an issue. You know what? To me, I think you're absolutely 100% right. Was he not great when he was here? Then don't complain about it and look forward, not behind.
Yeah, I am curious. I know a lot of people are weighing in on this. Get your voice memos in. Send them into the Davis Honda text line. We hear you coming up. But I know a lot of people are also sending their text in. So what are people saying about A.J. Brown on the text board?
It's kind of split. We have Mike from Coatesville. I've been thinking about this for a while. Why have we been okay with this? He's rejecting Philadelphia, and there's a collective shrug. I think he's being a selfish baby who wants to be in the Hall of Fame instead of helping the Eagles win. Ridiculous.
Yeah, see, here's where I think it's a little bit of there's a little bit of a related factor here, though, where, yes, he wants to be in the Hall of Fame, and I know there were times where the team was still winning and he wasn't happy because the passing attack wasn't strong. But I also feel like in A.J. Brown's mind, right or wrong, he truly believes that he needs to be more involved and the passing attack needs to be better for them to get to where the team wants to get to. I don't think he expresses that in the right way all the time. And I think there are times where he allowed his frustration to come out and show. But I do truly believe he thinks, and this is what you want in a competitor, like he thinks me being involved and me getting the ball more is going to result in us winning more games. Like, that's where I think it ultimately comes down to is, yeah, he's a little bit about his stats and his numbers, but I don't think he would be happy losing and having good numbers. I can't believe that any player, well, I'm sure there are some out there, but I can't believe any legitimate competitor would say, I'd rather have 100 yards and lose than have 50 yards and win the game. I think with AJ, it was always more of...
They think that he does.
Yeah, but this is not sustainable. Like, I always felt like AJ's point was, we need to fix the passing offense because if we don't, we're not going to win going forward. We have to be able to win in a different way. And in 2024, when he said those things, we need to fix the passing offense, they ended up doing it against the Steelers, but they really didn't need it because the rushing attack was so damn good. I don't know.
Another clip circulating, though, is that in that Super Bowl where they are up big, and I don't know the exact play offhand, but A.J. Brown was upset, and the game was well out of hand. The Eagles were completely dominating KC, and people have been circulating that a lot.
I thought that was the Giants game.
No,
I thought that was the playoffs against the Giants.
No, I'm pretty sure that was the Super Bowl.
Because in the Super Bowl, he had a touchdown.
Yeah,
yes,
I'd rather see him be upset that he's not getting the ball because there was one of the greats of all time that was pissed off he didn't score in a Super Bowl, and that was Walter Payton.
All right, well, here's what I want. Here's what I want from Eagles fans right now. Two questions for you. One, do you agree with John Kincaid? Are you saying that you want to see A.J. Brown miserable at his next location? And then also, name some players that you did feel that way about. Because I don't feel that way about AJ, but I certainly felt that way about Ben Simmons, to name one person, and certainly some others. So I'd love to hear some names from former Philly athletes that on the way out you were saying, yeah, I hope that person's miserable wherever they go. Send them into the Davis Honda text line. Get your voice memos in, 610-632-0975. We have We Hear You coming up, the best voice messages of the day, but I also see we got a bunch of callers on the line. We'll go rapid fire between voice messages and phone calls, all right? So we'll do that coming up next with people's response to our Phillies questions, Sixers stuff, and then clearly this A.J. Brown thing that a lot of people have opinions about. So keep it here, Unfiltered, 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia. All right, welcome back in the Unfiltered. We were just talking about John Kincaid's rant this morning on A.J. Brown because June 1st, about 2 weeks away, and all signs are pointing to the fact that AJ will get traded. And John Kincaid said something this morning that I was curious if a lot of fans agreed with, which was send AJ Brown to Siberia, send him to the most miserable place possible. And I don't have that ill will towards AJ. I wish him nothing but the best. I thank him for the 4 years we had here. 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl victory. Number 1 and number 2 in terms of receiving yards in franchise history for a season. He's number 1 and number 2 for his first 2 years here. So I have no problem with him, but there's a lot of fans who agree with John Kincaid. So we're going to do We Hear You now, best voice messages of the day, but we got a lot of live phone calls as well. So we're going to go rapid fire. We Hear You always brought to you.
No, I want to know.
Oh. You want me to go now? We Hear You always brought to you by Rycor Heating and Cooling. If your home's running hot and cold, upgrade to a high-efficiency heat pump system and start saving every month. Schedule your free consultation at RycorHVAC.com or call 1-855-MY-RYCOR and upgrade today. Rycor, we know how. Go ahead, Sil.
I was just so excited.
No, I want to know. Yes. Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Are you listening to me?
We can hear you.
I have something to say. Please just keep it simple and brief.
Thank you.
Listen to me carefully.
And that's all I have to say about that.
We hear you.
All right, let's go rapid fire. We're going to go Chris from Washington Township. Chris, you want AJ to be miserable, man?
Oh, yeah. First of all, I agree with John 100%, except Siberia is a little too nice. My man needs to go to Antarctica, where there's nothing for him to go to.
Why are you so angry with him?
My man is choosing. You actually listed every single reason your last segment, so I don't really know what you're confused about. Everything you said is the reason. He's choosing stats. He's choosing these cryptic messages. Get the hell out. Go to Antarctica or Cleveland or somewhere where he will be absolutely miserable.
Man, a lot of people angry with AJ. I mean, listen, I'm saying that the guy does care about his personal statistics. I get that. But at the same time, when he looked at this passing offense in the last 2 years and he indicated, I don't think it's good enough, does anybody disagree? I mean, last year, whether it was Jalen, whether it was Kevin Patullo, whether it was a combination, whoever you want to blame for the problems last year, to go literal halves of football without completing a pass, and A.J. Brown speaks up that the passing offense needs to be better. Who's disagreeing with him on that? You literally went halves of football without completing a damn pass twice.
Nothing that he said was a lie. I think that's one thing you have to kind of compute in your own brain, that nothing that he's thrown out there has been a lie in general. So why be that mad at him?
I don't think
because he gave you 4 good years?
I don't think they're mad about anything that he said. I really think that last game was really, they thought that he truly gave up on them. And that was like the icing on the cake. They thought like the drops paired with that.
All right, let's keep them going because I don't think everyone feels that way. Mike from Germantown.
There were 2 plays in question.
Mike from Germantown. What's up, man?
Hey, listen, I want him to, I want AJ to do well, but I ain't going to lie to you. If he goes to New England, the right scenario would be we play them in the Super Bowl and kick their tail good so you can lay it in his face. Like, how do you, he came from Tennessee, let's get that. You know what I'm saying? Dude is ungrateful. He's a great football player, but he's ungrateful, you know.
Yeah, listen, I could see that. A little ungrateful. I mean, he went from playing with Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee where he never had more than 1,075 yards. And then he comes here in his first season close to 1,500. Second season, close to 1,500. It's been the last 2 years where things have really fallen off, and that's why AJ wants a change of scenery. Like, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that AJ Brown has done. Like, don't take this the wrong way. I don't agree with everything. But when you constantly hear how good of a teammate he's been, and we all could see what he's meant to this team and their success over the last 4 seasons, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, I hope he's miserable. I hope he has a terrible team he's on. Like, I can't get there. I thank the guy, and it's time to move on. It's a professional relationship that has run its course.
They're like, if you're not happy here, I want you to go to a real team almost and see what true unhappiness and not winning and not succeeding does rather than having those stats. I think that's like where their point of view is. I don't agree with it, but I think that's why they're like, I want you to be miserable because I want you to see the grass is not always greener.
But there's no guarantee. Even if he goes to New England, there's no guarantee that they're going to be great. There's no guarantee, Drake May's going to be unbelievable and throw him the ball all the time. He could end up being a big distraction. Although, I don't know if you could have a bigger distraction than Diana Rossini.
Oh,
so maybe not.
Ricky Bo went there. All right, let's go to Oso from North Philly. Oso, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? First and foremost, what's up, Ricky, Bill, and Phil? Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, welcome.
I'm going to wrap this up really quick. I feel the same way that everybody's discussing. Philly's not made for everybody. You've seen it through a lot of different players in the different sports. We're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you. If you do well, we're going to cheer for you. If you do bad, you're going to hear from it. But we don't need no divas in Philly. You see he was giving up mid-play. You know what I mean? We don't need that. We need champions here that's willing to set a firm foundation for another chip. Let's go Birds.
Let's go Birds. It's a good call by Oso. Listen, I'm not disagreeing. See, here's where I guess I'm torn on all this. Like, I'm not disagreeing on a lot of what people are saying about AJ. But I also just can't wish him ill will on the way out like other athletes who have come here and failed to deliver or failed to leave it all out on the field or the court or whatever it may be. Like Ben Simmons is a guy where I viewed him and I wanted him to have a terrible career after he left because I hated the way he handled himself here. He had completely lacked self-awareness, had no problem collecting a paycheck and driving a Lamborghini around the city and then could never play and didn't care. And the one time he was called out after that Atlanta series, he took his ball and went home. I hated that. A.J. Brown, I don't view that way. I look at him as the ultimate competitor, a guy who has left it all out on the field, a guy who has made some monster plays for this franchise and help deliver a Lombardi trophy. So, yeah, I wish he would have stayed, and I wish things would have gone differently for the life of his contract here. But at the same time, I can't be too angry at him that I want him to be miserable. I just want him to be happy, Ricky Bo.
You don't want him to be here at this point. Is it like that's what I've come down to, is that he doesn't want to be here. Why should I sit here and get upset about something? Think about this. What happens if he doesn't end up getting traded?
He's getting traded.
I know he is,
no
but I'm just saying.
No, he's gone.
Nightmare
He's
scenario.
gone. All right, so we hear you. We're going to do it again at 5:25. We will get back to the A.J. Brown conversation because clearly a lot of people have a lot to say on this. But get your voice memos in. Get your text in. Do you wish A.J. Brown well after he gets traded? I'm very curious what people are going to weigh in on that. Send your text, your voice memos to the Davis Honda text line, 610-632-0975. The other question we threw out, with your fighting Phils red hot at 16-4, are you starting to believe that the role players are good enough on this team? We know how good Harper and Schwarber are, but what about the role players? They carried you to victory last night thanks to Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, and even Andrew Painter, if you want to throw him into the role player category. That's the subject of our Twitter poll, always standing strong thanks to Dr. Avi Donapel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. What we got?
Do you believe the role players on the Phillies are good enough? I'll tell you what, that performance last night must have not did a lot. 70% are saying no, 30% are saying yes.
Wow. Well, if you're one of the people who voted no, would love to hear from you. Send your text or your voice memo into the Davis Honda text line. What is it about the role players that's holding you back from believing? 610-632-0975. All right. We'll get back to the A.J. Brown conversation. We'll get back to the Phillies coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But coming up next, a little Gimme More at 4 with Silvana and the trade rumors, Ricky, about Matvei Michkov are already starting. Don't do it. We'll get to that, too, after Gimme More at 4. Keep it here, unfiltered. 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia.